everyone, this is my 50,000 mile Subaru review. I'm actually at this point closer to 60,000 miles, so I thought I'd give you kind of perspective. I've had the car now for 2 years, 3 years come next January. It's summer right now, so I'll give you a little bit what I like about the car so far, what I don't like about the car. You guys get a perspective if you're interested in looking at it. Overall, I would definitely give this car a test drive if you're interested in a Subaru. I really like the car so far. I would definitely give it a thumbs up if you want my quick review about it. My only qualm, I think, right now, if you wanted a quick, my too long didn't read review, would be if you have a family. I would probably get a Forester or an Outback, just because this car is a little bit smaller in length. However, if it's it's just 3 of you, or 2 of you an adult, this car would definitely suffice. It's very comfortable for that. So first things, my first review about this car. This thing is great in the wintertime. The all-wheel drive system on Subarus, I have not driven a better one. I work and live in Nebraska. We have bad winters here. I have to get to work because my job requires it, and this thing was out driving Jeeps in the winter. Last winter was particularly bad. I was going in snow at least up to my door and driving through a couple feet with no problem. Now, if you're on ice, it doesn't matter how good a all-wheel drive you have. That's your tires. You need better tires. You're gonna need some snow chains. But through snow, this thing just, like I said, not driven another car that drives better in snow. I would liken it to a big truck that has big off-road wheels. This thing will just go. It'll get me to where I need to go. This is a wonderful vehicle if you're living in an area where you have harsh winters. I would definitely recommend getting a Subaru. I was skeptical at first how well it could be, and then after I took it out and actually kind of messed around in the wintertime, this thing will get you to where you need to go. The all-wheel drive is also really good on off-roads. I've taken this thing on a couple of road trips. I took it to the Rockies last weekend, went up some kind of high, sketchy roads, and this thing grips very well. The all-wheel drive makes you feel very safe. Obviously, your tires are going to have something to do with that, but the all-wheel system on Subaru is superb. I have not seen one that works better than that, especially for the price point of this car. So, great all-wheel drive system for you who are up in the Northeast or in the Midwest. You're in those harsh winters. Definitely look at getting yourself one of these cars. You'll thank yourself in the winter when you're not sliding around. The clearance on this car is also very good. It's at least got, if I take my shoe off here, got size almost 11 feet. It's, about a whole foot length. That's plenty of clearance to what you need to do with this car. You're going to get over bumps. That's going to clear any speed bumps or bumps in the road. If you like taking this car off-road, if you have gravel, it's going to get over whatever you need to do. It's really nice. It just gives you peace of mind knowing that you're not going to bottom out. You're not going to hurt your car. You have the clearance of an SUV almost, yet it drives like a car. The best thing about this car, like I said, is that versatility. You can take it out there in the winter. You get all the versatility of an SUV in a car's package. So it does not drive like an SUV. Go test drive these things. The first thing you're going to realize is it drives almost like a fun car. The suspension is basically beefed up, and so it's basically a Subaru Impreza. And if you're a rally racer fan, you guys know the Impreza, the WRX. That's a rally car. Basically, they took the Impreza suspension and then beefed it up, so it's just a Subaru Impreza on a beefier suspension, and that makes it more fun to drive. It makes it more easy to get around over bad terrain, rough roads. If you guys have potholes, you're not gonna break a strut as easy in this car. You're gonna be able to turn a little bit better. So it's actually really well. This car will drive fine at high speeds. I've taken it at interstate speeds. It'll hit 80 miles an hour just fine. One of the complaints you hear on Ryan about this car is that the engine is sub-adequate for its specs. It's a Boxer four-cylinder engine. That's the only kind you got. You can't upgrade to a V6. They don't have SDI models. They don't have WRX or you know, the performance lines that they would have in the other models of Subarus. So yeah, that is a bad thing, but I'm gonna say if you're driving this thing as a daily commuter, or you're just taking it out to go have fun on the weekends, the engine and the horsepower is plenty. You do not need any more horsepower than this thing has. Now, caveat to that, I took it up to the Rockies this weekend and it was sucking air. You could tell I was struggling to go 65 up those mountain roads, but so was every single other car at 5,000 feet up in the air. So would this thing be a great hot rod car to have if you're living in Denver? Well, no, but it's going to get you through the wintertime just fine. Yeah, it's going to struggle at those things. Should it have a little more horsepower? Yeah, I hope the next model does. Is it anything that's going to be dangerous? Do I need to worry about merging on the interstate? No, this thing will merge just fine. When I'm coming into this car, it merges on the interstate just fine. I'm able to get up and get speed just fine. I'm able to pass people with no problem. And that brings up some of the cool features of this car. So if we step inside the car, some of you may be asking, okay, what kind of features does this have if you're looking forward to getting it? And if you're watching this video in the future, welcome to the COVID crisis, and we're all wearing masks, so a little bit of history. So if we turn on this car, you're gonna have some cool features that I've really used. As you can see on there, I have a 54, almost 55,000 miles. I took it on about 1,400 miles on this car just this last weekend, driving out to the Rockies from here in eastern Omaha, Nebraska. And I'm taking it on other road trips as well. It performed really well. Like, this car's great. Like I said, you'll have a good time if you end up getting it. So some of the cool features, like I said, if you're worried about passing people, if you're worried about being inadequate horsepower, well, here's what you do. You've got your manual mode. It's a continually variable transmission, CVT, so you don't actually have gears. However, when you're driving on the road and say you need to pick up speed, or you need to get a little more oomph, what you can do is actually just hit downshift, and it'll put you in a higher rev RPM range. So for instance, if I were to put this car into drive, this would technically be first gear, but I could hit, you could hit it, and you see you've got your 1 there that denotes what gear you're on, and you'd be able to cycle up and down. And so if you were in second gear per se and you needed to pass someone, you could drop into the first gear. You'd put yourself in a higher rev range with more horsepower. You'd be able to zip right around. That's also great for mountain driving, because if you're needing to use your engine to brake your speed so you're not frying your brakes down a mountain, you could put it into a lower gear. And like I said, these aren't actually gears, but you're putting it into a lower gear on the RPM range, and you're able to use your engine to brake. So that was very useful driving up and down mountains. You could save your brakes, so you're not burning out. And so that's one way. There actually is a manual mode, and simply all you do is take it from drive D over to M, and then it gives you complete access to be able to play with what gear you're in on the roads. It's mainly for those mountain driving. It's kind of fun to play with once in a while on the road, but it doesn't, it's not as smooth as transition. But you can't fry your car. I mean, you can't take it 70 miles an hour and then throw it in first gear. It's not a real manual. It's not going to let you redline your car. It's going to protect itself. So, and after a while, actually, even if you have it, say you're driving down the road, and you flip it, you put it into first gear, it will eventually just go back into normal drive mode unless you actually have selected manual. So that's really nice. Other things I really like, this thing has a very cool eyesight system. So if you look up here, you've got your 2 eyesights. We could even look around. We got one there, we've got one over here. What these do, they're gonna look out on the road, they're gonna look for obstacles, and it's gonna read the lines on the road. So basically, if I'm driving down the road, and I'll pull out here in my little neighborhood, we'll go for a little test drive. If I'm driving down the road, it's going to look for the lines on the road, and it's going to keep me in there. So in order to activate it, it's pretty simple. We just hit a little button, and we have a couple buttons on here. We've got our cruise control, we have our cruise control following distance, and we have our eyesight mode. For that, if we click it, it switches on to eyesight mode. You see a little car there. It even tells me when I'm braking. And what it's doing is it's watching the lines on the road. So if I start deviating, now we're on the interstate, there are no lines on the road, but if I were to take my hands off the wheel and me deviate it, it would beep beep, it would suck it me in back to the lane. That's really great for you who are going on road trips, you're going on long trips. This could save your life potentially. You know, if you divert your attention and you're kind of drifting off the road, this is going to keep you in line. It's going to suck you back in without you doing it. So if you know those Teslas that they drive themselves, it's basically that same system, except it's only going to do it once or twice. I think the max is like 2 or 3 times. So it's not going to do it over 3 times. After 3 times, it actually deactivates itself. That could be a negative. I don't know why Subaru deactivates it after 3 times, because if you fall asleep, I'd prefer the machine to be on and saving my life than to deactivate and I run off the road after the 3rd time. What does that mean? That means, okay, so if say I fell asleep when I'm driving, I would start drifting, it would beep beep, it would suck me back in. If I do it again, it's gonna beep beep, it's gonna suck me back in, and it's gonna give me one more time, beep beep, and then it's gonna turn off. Next time, you're just, you know, you're on your own. It's not gonna try to readjust your course. Other things this does, I know it assists me sometimes when I'm going around a curve. It's almost like assisting my steering, where it's starting to turn for me because it knows that curve in the road. That might be a shock to someone who's like, oh wow, this thing is moving for me. You got to get used to it, but it's actually kind of nice once you get used to using it. The other thing you saw in here, you saw the cruise control, the adaptive cruise control. So what does that mean? If we hit the button for cruise control, it's going to actually watch the car in front of me, and then I can play how far I want to be near that car or how far away I am with these little buttons. So if I click this button right here, you might be able to see this, you might not. I can play up and down and set the distance I want to be near to that car in front of me. That's really great, because if I want to be following closer, you know, if we're going at lower speeds, I could select a closer following distance. If we're at higher speeds and I want to make sure I have a 2-second gap, I could set the speed way out. And so if that car in front of me starts adjusting their speed, say they're going 75, they slow down to 65 and then bump back up, usually you'd have to hit the brakes and then you have to reset the cruise control. With this adaptive cruise control, it's actually going to mimic their speed, so you don't actually have to turn off cruise control because they hit the brakes. It's going to automatically match their speed, and then once they speed up again, you're going to speed up again. You know, however, you know, and then there was an emergency, it's going to stop too. That's the great thing about this Eyesight. It also is a warning system. So say I'm driving and you're texting and you're not paying attention, the guy in front of you slams on his brakes. Well, that Eyesight system is gonna see that. So for instance, this guy's pulling out right here. If he would have pulled out right now, it's gonna beep at me and it's gonna say beep beep, and it's gonna slam on my brakes. It's gonna prevent you from having that collision. It's not, you know, 100% foolproof. You still need to be aware. However, like if you were to fall asleep, if a kid would run out in front of you, the Eyesights are gonna see it, and it's gonna, if you close that gap too short, so if that car or whatever is, you know, within 5-10 feet of your car and you're going 20, 30, 40 miles an hour, it's gonna slam on the brakes and it's gonna prevent you from having that head-on collision or hitting that kid or whatever it's gonna do. It works pretty well. It's, you know, it's probably helped me already once, and hey, if it works once, it saves you thousands of dollars in a wreck. It's completely worth it. So those are the great things about this car. It's fine for road trips. Like I said, the engine is fine. It's adequate for what you need it to do. Everything else, the infotainment system on this car is very good. It has, it's with CarPlay. I don't know if you guys have seen CarPlay. So if I would plug it into my phone right now, it'll actually open up, and it's going to allow me to use CarPlay, and it's going to pull up my GPS. You could pull up your Apple Music. You could pull up anything you want to do. I can hit home. I have different options. It's wonderful. It's super intuitive. It's very easy to use. It is great having the GPS just right on the screen. You could flip very easily. It'll take you to where you need to go. It's a wonderful system. I think our vehicles should start to have these. It works great with Apple phones. I know it also works well with Androids. And that's one of like another highlight feature of this is the multimedia center. It is wonderful. The radio, it's sub-adequate. It's not going to be a radio that you're going to be super excited to listen to music on, but I mean, it's going to get you to your commute. If you really want to upgrade the speakers, I would do it. I would give it a 6 out of 10. It's not a wonderful radio. I've definitely heard better stock radio systems, but it's not horrible. It's going to do what it does. I'm not in the car usually to listen to, a performance. So, if I really wanted to invest, yeah, it could use some more speakers. Air conditioning, I have had some issues in the hot summers here. Not only does Nebraska get the crazy winters, we also get hot summers. I mean, it could be 95, 99 degrees. I've noticed when I've had other people in the car that the air condition has struggled at times to keep blowing cool air when it's 95, 99 and I'm driving in the city, even on the interstate. So that's one thing I think it could do a little bit better. It could definitely, maybe have better air control when it's those stressful times. But I get it, when it's that hot out, it can't be perfect. Other things, the X mode, there is a feature. This is for, if you're actually really going rock climbing, doing other things. For all you non-Midwesterners, you don't know what Runzas are. God bless your souls for not knowing. It's a wonderful, wonderful place you should visit sometime. The X mode is, it works pretty well. I haven't really had a chance to use it. I did take this car into the Ozarks, went up a pretty big hill, some gravel, and what it does is basically it's gonna limit how slow you're going, but it's gonna brake for you. It's gonna keep you at a steady. It's gonna get traction. So when you're going up and down hills, it's gonna make sure you're not slipping and you're not going uncontrolled. So that's another feature. The seats in this car, I'm gonna say, are more of a negative than a positive. In my model, I have the manual seat modes, where you've got 2 adjustments. You can adjust the back, front and back, and the height. And you also have the front to back. I'm about 5'10", 5'11", closer to 5'11". I think the seat should be able to scoot back a little bit further. And the seats are super... I feel like they're not the super most comfortable seats I've sat on. And a long road trip, I definitely am ready to get my butt out of these seats. I've sat in more comfortable seats before. I think Subaru could do a better job if they remodel, if they tweak for the 2021 models or whatever they're going to do next. I think the seats need to be a little better. I don't have the premium version. I think I have the middle version of the there's like the limited, the premium, and whatever the other ones are. I think I have the middle one. I may even have the cheapest one. I'm not even sure. I can't remember. I don't have the most luxurious model. That's with like leather seats. They may be more comfortable. These ones aren't the most comfortable. I have put these fabric seat things on there. That's one thing I really do recommend you all do. Get seat covers for this car. It really will save your seats and your fabric from being, if you have dogs, if you have cats, things like that. It's great. Go get one at Sam's Club, get one at Costco. It doesn't matter. Just put them on. They'll save your car. They'll save your seats. They'll even the resale value. These are actually really cool too. They sell these at Walmart. Keeps some fries and stuff getting in between your seats. They're like $10. Those are pretty neat. I recommend you get some of those too. So yeah, the seats definitely could be better in this car. I think they're a little bit too stiff, and I don't think there's enough maneuverability. For the electric ones, there might be more up and down play. I would like them to tilt a little bit more, You basically only get up, and you get the back, up and down for the back, and that's about all. Going to the back, here's the back. There is enough room for 2 adults to sit back there for short trips. I would not want a road trip in this car if I were 4 full adults. However, it still works. As I said in the beginning of this review, if you have kids and you want a car you're going to be able to grow with, I do think the back is probably a little tiny. It's a little bit, especially if you're a taller driver. So like I said, I'm at 6 feet. I can comfortably sit back here. And this seat is all the way back, so it doesn't need to be all the way back. I still have leg room. My knees aren't hitting. I have enough room. I've Ubered in this car, and I've never had a complaint where there was no room. So all my Uber Eats riders, they've always really liked the car. The thing was really cool. They've never complained about not having enough room. But those are short drives. If I was going on a road trip with 5 people, I would not want to be an adult back here. That would be a longer drive. So I think if you have a kid and you had, you know, a car seat, it would fit fine. I think it'd be fine. But if you're gonna have multiple kids, you're gonna grow with this car, you need to get a Subaru and an Outback. I think those do have significantly more room, I feel, in the back, especially those Outbacks. But the back's fine. I do recommend getting some of these floor mats. I've got the Husky ones. They're specifically designed. They're even cupped a little bit, so if you spill liquid in there, it'll actually soak it up so it's not getting into the car. I got the Husky ones up front. Those are great. I know there's the WeatherTech ones. Those are fine too. I think they're both good. I do recommend you getting those. I also have a thing on the back. Like I said, I do Uber with this car before the pandemic hit. Now I don't want to be in the car with all those people. Hence hand sanitizer in every door right now. And so I like to, you know, protect the car. And if you go out and stuff too, you want to protect it. If we look into the back, we can go to the back door. We'll open it up. I can put the seats down very easy. You just unlatch it, push, unlatch it and push. And you've got plenty of room for cargo and to put it whatever you need into this car. I have actually car camped in this car before. You can simply just put your bed out. If I were to come in here and lay down, one more quick advert, go to Amazon, get yourself some back seat covers. I think these are like $50, $60. They're completely worth it. They're going to save your car from getting your seats from getting all scuffed up. You get 2 of these, they protect the back of your seats. So when you're putting in cargo stuff, it's a nice rubber lining. So you're not ruining the actual fabric. They're very cheap for how good they are. I definitely recommend them. You can find them on Amazon. So if we're going in here, once again, another mask. They're just kind of blowing in the wind. They're like tumbleweeds. If I were to actually like lay down in this car, you could actually almost get your feet in here and you can move the front seats up. I have gone camping in here. You just put your pillows right here, have to kind of fill the space here, and you can almost lay down. Like if I were to actually almost lay down, my feet will touch there. I have to lay at an angle up here. I'm not actually straight up and down, but I'm at an angle. You could car camp in this car with 1 person. 2 people, you have to be really close to each other. You better really like that person you're laying next to. But you can definitely get stuff in here. I put like wheelchairs in here for my work. I have to take some clients around who have wheelchairs. I've had to move, and it definitely will hold a lot of items and space. It's a good car for cargo. So you have the room and options to, you know, take them around. One thing I wish they would have done is put another light back here. They should have installed one back here. It would have made a little bit better for camping, and it would really nice to have had an outlet back here as well. A lot of cars have outlets in the back. There isn't. There's just a light, and you don't even get an option of really turning it off and on. So that would have been neat. If they would have done something better, I would have recommended that. But you know, it's doable. It's not a deal breaker. So that's the back. Like I said, it's a very nice car. I think it's a very cool, stylish car. I get a lot of compliments on the color. I think the color scheme's really good. They actually just came out with a lot more colors too. So when I first got this car, it was basically this color, silver or burnt orange. And now you have a lot of the other colors you can get. It comes with fog lights. They work pretty well. The lights are great. The stock tires and rims are really cool. I think they look great. I get a lot of compliments. So yeah, that's about it. The only other things I can think of are gas mileage. The thing gets okay gas mileage. Does it get... I came from having a Camry hybrid, so I was spoiled. So I think, you know, having this car in the city, does the gas mileage as good as I'd like? I don't think it's not the best, but it's not horrible. So what we can do is you can actually come in here and you can play. So you can kind of play with it. So like today, it looks like I got 25 miles per gallon. I don't know. I was driving in the city. I wasn't driving to save gas. So you could definitely get that a little higher on the interstate. You've got your tire pressure gauges. It gives you mile per hour. It has a trip odometer, and it's got, like I said, the miles, and it tells you how long you're going. So that's pretty neat. You also have up here, you have a temperature gauge. You have miles left in your tank. Time, you can kind of play with this too if you'd like. I think you come down here and you click the info button, and it'll tell you 25 miles average. You can do another average. It's telling me how much I've done. So that's basically it. If there's anything else you guys have questions on, let me know. Would you buy this car, or would I buy it again if I had a chance? Yeah, for sure. I think this car is fun. It gives you the options of an SUV and the package of a car without the horrible gas mileage of an SUV. You know, I can deal with 25 miles per gallon. You probably should be getting more if you're not driving in and out of traffic, kind of like I was today. It's not the best gas mileage, like I said. It's not an eco car like some of them are advertised as, but it'll get you where you need to go. And it's got a decent sized gas tank. You could get a good 300, 400 miles out of this car before you have to fill up, before you even start getting low in that tank. I would definitely get one again. It allows you to do the things you want to do. If you have a lifestyle where you want to be out and about, you like driving, this car's fun to drive. It's high up. It gives you the clearance you need while it still corners really well. It's not high centered. You could take turns at high speeds. It actually, the suspension just absorbs it. And I feel safer on this car turning at high speeds than I do at a lower car, honestly. And so like when I go home and I switch cars, and I drive my parents' cars that are lower, I mean, you just feel everything on the road. This car just absorbs it. It's so nice. Like, especially here in the Midwest where you have potholes, it'll absorb all those little bumps. You'll hit them and not have to worry about having to, change car parts, get your alignment done again, because it'll take them and kind of eat them up. Like same with the speed bumps. That's pretty much it, guys. One last thing I think I forgot to mention, Subarus all have really great heated seats. So if you guys like heated seats, definitely Subarus are great at that, especially here in the winters. They're really good. One thing I think the car could do better is the audio speaker for Bluetooth on the phone. It's not great. I've never seen a car that actually has good, clear conversation on the phone. You have to yell in order to actually, hear someone, but, it's not horrible. They also don't have change things in Subarus, so you have to just put all your change in your own little thing. I don't know why Subaru does that. They should definitely probably install a change thing. But storage is great. You've got 2 cup holders. You got a cup holder there, a cup holder here. You have the side thing for storage, and you've got your glove compartment, things like that. You've got a USB in there. You also have the AC power here, or your cigarette lighter as well. I've got mine connected to a little dash cam. Definitely recommend you get a dash cam if you don't have one of those. Save yourself some money on insurance frauds or claims. Definitely protect yourself out there on the road. If you guys have anything else, let me know. I've had this car, like I said. There's all my state stickers. We've got 2018, 19, and 20 for all my parks pass. So I'm about to go, 6 more months. I've had the car for 3 years fully. 54,000. I drive the car a lot. For work. I like to go out on the weekends, go on longer road trips. So I definitely have put it through its paces. You take care of the car, it's going to drive. It's going to go for a long time. I haven't had any issues with the car. Just do your routine maintenance. Make sure you're hitting your checks, and you shouldn't have any problem. I'm hoping to have this car for a long time. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Shoot me a comment. Shoot me anything else you have concerns about. I think that was just a brief overview of everything. And thank you for watching. You guys have a good day.